All right, my next guest at this time is an Indy pro wrestler. She goes by the name of Madi Maxx, and she's joining me right now.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being on the show, and it was a pleasure to meet you at Primetime Wrestling at Paris, Kentucky last Friday night.
It
Um,
was so fun.
and you made your debut. You was originally supposed to go up against Amazing Maria, but she was unable to make it. And you had your match against a different opponent, and you go on to pick up the victory. So congratulations on that for sure.
Thank you.
So how did it feel to make your debut for Primetime Wrestling?
It was so much fun. I've been training in Kentucky, but I haven't actually made a debut in Kentucky, so that was my first time ever officially wrestling in the state of Kentucky. So it was really fun, and to go out with a victory was really great too.
I definitely would love to see you go up against Amazing Maria down the road. I'm definitely would love to see that. I guess.
We have some matchups coming up, me versus her.
Oh, okay.
So and they're in Kentucky, so that'll be fun.
Okay, so I first heard of you through PTW, obviously, and in the girl fight, I heard of you through that. You got a show for girl fight. I think you have one coming up in Michigan, I believe.
Yeah, I have one in Michigan in November, and then actually a week from today, I have a girls' fight show in Georgia.
Oh yeah, they got one in Georgia too. So, um, and we're definitely getting into that in a matter of moments. For you, Maddie, what made you decide to become a wrestler?
Well, when I was really young, my dad took me to a wrestling show because he wanted to show me what a figure four looked like because he's a big Ric Flair fan. And ever since I went to that show, I just really, really liked it. And then I started training over a year ago, and since then, it's just been my life.
So, were there any wrestlers in particular, whether it's the indies or whether it's the pros, that inspire you to wrestle?
Yeah, my favorite ever is definitely Cheetah, and then my favorite male wrestler ever is Edge. And then I saw them the first time I ever went, and that's the only match I remember from the show. And they just inspired me. I just knew I wanted to do what they do. And I steal some of my movesets from them now, so they still inspire me to this day, even though they're retired.
Okay, you know, obviously they stood out to you the most because they were intriguing. They were very interesting. Lita especially, and I'm still waiting for someone who can do the moves that she does. Cause I watch wrestling on TV, and I've been to indie shows for quite some time, and there's been a lot of talented women wrestlers, but there's only one leader for a reason, cause she was the only one to do those maneuvers. And she
Yeah,
and she done
I
yeah.
definitely, at training and stuff, like I'll do a standing moonsault, but I never had the courage to do it off the top like she does.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things. Um. And let's make a segue from that. In all of your matches that you have had, what do you consider the biggest fear that you have as a wrestler? Was it someone that you go up against? Was it a move that you were trying to do for the first time? Like, what do you consider the biggest fear that you had in a wrestling match?
Well, I'm not ever afraid of who I have to go against. It took me the longest time to be able to go off the top rope. So in matches and stuff, that's one of my biggest fears probably is messing up there because that's a long way down.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely, they call it high risk for a reason, and you better know what you're doing or what you plan on doing going on the top rope, or things gonna turn out really, really bad. Um,
Yeah. Like Candice Michelle one time, she slipped on the top rope and knocked herself out.
I'll never forget the match that I've watched with Sasha Banks and Bailey take over Brooklyn, and I think Bailey was going for a Hurricane off the top rope, and see how Sasha's head almost landed first into the middle of the ring. I was like, oh my goodness, that could have been a career ender right there.
Yeah.
that
It's
was,
definitely like a factor you have to take in consideration before you attempt it.
oh yeah, absolutely. Um, Now, what do you consider like your biggest you want to accomplish as a wrestler? More shows, like get yourself out there more. Like, what do you consider the biggest goal for you right now?
Well, a long-term goal would definitely be doing this on national TV every week, but that's every wrestler's dream. And then short-term goals would be like going to other states, even going across the country, becoming an international wrestler. Those are some short-term goals, and ultimately the long-term goal would be to be on TV for this.
Seeing Madi Maxx on the TV screen would definitely be nice.
I,
I will acknowledge that for sure. Um, so a little bit earlier on the show, I had an interview with someone that you ever go up against for a certain championship, and I didn't realize it until I read this lady's Facebook page, Danny Fiera.
yeah.
You got a match with her for a championship. Also includes Kayla as well. Um, and I think that's gonna be coming up real soon, from my understanding.
The match?
Yes, yes.
We already had the
Oh
match.
yeah, you already had the match, so
It
it's
was in September.
yeah, so it's gonna be televised for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
they are going, or Evolution Championship Wrestling is going to TV, so it will be televised.
cool. So, is this gonna be like the first time you see yourself on TV?
No. I'm from North Carolina originally, so I've been on TV in North Carolina, and then I've also been on TV in Pennsylvania. But
Oh,
it's my
okay.
first time in Tennessee being on TV.
Oh, okay. So, what's the reaction that you get when you see yourself on TV? Do you get shocked? Do you like, oh my goodness, that's me? You know,
I get really giddy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, that's me. But then again, really, sometimes it frustrates me if my match isn't that great, and they put it on TV anyways, because then the whole world will see that, and then they'll like underestimate you, I guess. So that's like the main thing I look at when I see myself is like all my mistakes and stuff. But I'm sure like people wouldn't even realize half of them. But it's just like you're such a critique to yourself when you see yourself on there.
that is true. Absolutely true. I feel like every wrestler can, the biggest critic of them all is themselves because they know what they done good and what they could have done better, and will ignore that, and they keep making the same mistakes. Next thing you know, they're not getting booked for many more shows. And that reputation is definitely a big deal.
Yeah.
How you conduct yourself inside the ring, and more importantly, outside the ring. And if you don't, and if people don't get that together, they're not gonna find themselves getting booked anywhere.
Yeah.
Cause
You have to be professional in and outside the ring because you can get a bad reputation instantly if you rub one person the wrong way who has connection to a lot of things. You can also screw yourself out of a lot of opportunities and chances if you do rub someone the wrong way. You do have a bad reputation.
that is very true. So that's definitely something for aspiring wrestlers to keep in mind if they want to get into this business. And make sure you're with a good crowd, someone that you can get along with, that you can bond with. That's
Yeah, you definitely need to find your friends, your real friends in the business, and then keep close to them. And then I personally don't like to get personal with a lot of people in the business just because you never know anyone's intentions. And that goes with any kind of business, but you have to keep your close friends close because it can get really crazy.
that is absolutely true. You know what they say in the wrestling business, anything.
Hmm.
So it's just something to be aware of for sure. Um, who are some woman wrestlers out there that you haven't had a chance to go up against, but would like to go up against one day?
Well, I currently idolize Taylor Hendricks and everything that she does. I mean, she's currently with Ring of Honor, but she was with Ohio Valley Wrestling, and that's where I am right now. And I've had conversations with her about it, and she absolutely loved it, and I loved it there too. But I love her as a wrestler and her as a person, so I would definitely love to share the ring with her one day. It would just be awkward because, like, I mimic some of her stuff. I mean, I make it my own, but I go off of her a lot, so we'd be doing, like, the same things in the match, but it would still be so much fun.
I do love me some Taylor Hendricks,
Me
and
too.
I've seen her wrestle before, and she every time I meet her, she's definitely one of the most nicest, down to earth people that you will ever meet. I mean,
Mhm.
considering how brutal the wrestling industry can be at times, but inside that, this persona that you see on Wing of Honor these days, she is a sweetheart. And
She is, and she's so eager to help. Like, she definitely wants what's best for the business.
absolutely. And the last time I seen her was at Girl Fight Wrestling at Indiana, and Truth Martini was there. I mean, that was a good show. And now, speaking of Girl Fight, you got some shows coming up with them. What's it like getting a chance to be a part of an all-woman wrestling show when you get ready for shows such as Girl Fight?
Well, I've only been a part of one all-girl show before, and it's definitely different because usually it shows girls are like the attraction, I guess, because there's usually only one match. But just to be surrounded by so many other girls in the business who love what you love, and you guys can share ideas off each other. So when I go to Girl Fight, like, I'm close to some of the girls on the roster already, but it would definitely be nice to meet other girls across the country who love what I love and do what I do and understand why we do what we do. So all those shows are really fun for that reason because you're all girls and you all know what it's like to be a girl in the business. And, I mean, yeah, there's, like, competition, but there's competition at every show, even if you are the only match. But girl shows are really fun.
I've been to a couple of Girl Fight shows in the past year or so, and you're all right. There is some competitiveness to it, but at the same time, it's like all the girls want to see each other do well, regardless of how long the matches are. And you definitely need that. It feels like, even though it feels like women wrestling continues to grow, it feels like they still have so much to prove in a male-dominant sport. And if you look what's going on with WWE these days, and you see the Shine Wrestling and down south and WSU and Shimmer, and they continue to take the woman wrestling to a whole nother level, and yet people still feel otherwise, thinking, I don't know. It just feels like they still have something to prove, even though they've already proven they can. But I guess it's that saying, you're only as good as your last match or whatever, and
Mhm.
you gotta step up every single time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then also, I've dealt with people who are like, girls shouldn't wrestle, blah, blah, blah. But I like those kind of people because then you just you do what you love and you become something and then you prove everybody wrong. That's another thing that the women's revolution is going on right now with WWE, and that's like they used to be divas and like Candy and everything, and I really, really like the fact that they're becoming women wrestlers and they're being like recognized as wrestlers as well and not just a segment of the show to look at some booty.
That's pretty much true. And I asked Danny about this earlier. I'll go ahead and ask you this as well. Obviously, Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming up. It's going to be Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the Women's Championship, and it will be the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. Yes, I'll to let that sink in for a moment, and I will confess I'm a nerd when it comes to stats, so I'll give you a stat for you. In the history of Hell in a Cell matches, there's been 33 Hell in a Cell matches in WWE since 1997.
You
There's
said death?
Yeah, so
Oh my gosh.
33 Hell in a Cell matches since 1997. The first one was Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Don't remember the name of the pay-per-view, but that was the first one back in '97, and there has been in the Hell in a Cell match, but there's never been a match featuring women that showcased the women. And for Sasha and Charlotte to get this opportunity, it's like, yes, if people
Mhm.
still have doubts of WWE's Revolution, you tell me 5 years ago, during the Divas days, would you see a woman Hell in a Cell match during the Divas era?
No.
Hell
No,
no.
no, no. Girls would never be hardcore.
No. I mean, we saw a TLC match, but we're talking Hell in a Cell. The history, the honor that's caused every single individual. And, it's it's gonna be interesting to see. I just hope for their well-being they don't do anything Shane McMahon-esque, try to jump off the cell, whatever.
No
I think Sean.
insane elbow drop.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing Charlotte do that corkscrew moonsault a couple of weeks ago, imagine her trying to do that on top of the cell. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a lot
yeah.
you gotta consider. Like putting on your body and putting on the other person's body.
Mhm. And I think that's pretty much the match I'm looking forward to because of the history of this match and this rivalry. That's something to see for sure. Um, so Maddie, I've always wanted to ask wrestlers this question, like the meaning, the story behind the stage name, Maddie Maxx. Like,
Mhm.
what made you decide to? How did you end up with that name? Was it your idea? Was it the promoter's idea?
Well, my real name is Madison, so that's where I get Maddie from. And then I wanted to go by Madison Maxwell, but that was a really long name. And last year at WrestleCade, I was like bumping ideas off of some people, and someone said Maddie Max. And at first, I really hated it. But in the same day, I totally changed my name, and then I started creating my Facebook page and my Twitter page, and now I'm Maddie Max.
Maddie Maxx. I like that name. Very intriguing.
Thank you. Two X's. Those people get that wrong.
Yes, yes. So, two X's as a Malcolm X. Um, now, you people can follow you on Twitter at Maddie, that's Madi underscore Max, and then you're also on Facebook as well. Um,
Yes.
so why don't you go ahead and promote your upcoming shows? Where can people check you out?
Well, Saturday the 15th, if anybody from North Carolina is listening, I will be in Kernersville, North Carolina, back at my training facility doing a house show for them. And then the 20th of October, I'll be in Cornelia, Georgia, doing a girl fight show. And then the 23rd at OVW, we have a future talent showcase, so that's where I'll be there. And then the following week, I'll be back in North Carolina in Wilmington for Gimmickry Entertainment doing a tag team match with Chastity Taylor, and we're taking on Amanda Rodriguez and Casey Carlisle, so it'll be really fun. And then in November, I will be in Michigan, Kentucky, and I don't remember the other one. It's really bad. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Okay, you mentioned November, Michigan and Kentucky. I do know that Girl Fight's got a show coming up. It's gonna be at Louisville. Is that the show we're referring to, or is it something else?
Is it November 18th?
Oh, I think that is the Girl Fight show.
Then yes, that's it.
Oh, bingo, bingo.
Oh,
Yes,
okay, yeah. That
yes.
was really bad.
It's all good. Um, Maddie, it was so awesome to chat with you and also to meet you as well. I want to thank you so much for the time. Thanks for the picture. And, now that I know who Maddie Max is, I look forward to seeing more of you. PTW, Girl Fight, any other Kentucky related show. And Now that I also know you make appearances at OVW, I'll keep an eye on that as well. But thank you so much for your time. Continued success.
For having me, and thank you for all your kind words.
You are absolutely welcome. You have a good night and have a